Hello, my wonderful viewers. I am Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAC, Japan's frequently asked questions, and today we're going to be covering a very popular talent or idol in Japan known as Becky. Now I'm going to go ahead and read you a little article like I did with our last JFAC about Becky and what's happened in her life recently, if you don't already know. Becky's gone through a little bit of controversy, which is kind of a first for her because she's overall Japan's very well known pure idol, and she's got a very unscathed record as far as having never done really anything that's put her in a bad light in Japan. And that's kind of what made her popular at the same time. Now, one of the unique aspects of Becky is the fact that she is a Hafu idol. And if you don't know what Hafu is, that is half Japanese, half something else. For example, I believe Becky is half British, if I'm correct. Her father, I believe, is British. Her mother is Japanese. Now, let's go ahead and read this little article about her. It is from The Guardian. And the article is called, let's see here. I cannot make it go up high enough to see. It says highlights. Uh, got a huge delay on my. Okay, here we go. Downfall of Japanese TV's. Downfall of Japanese TV's Girl Next Door highlights wider industry sexism. So we're going to get into a little bit of, I guess, sexism. I really am covering this not for the sexism aspect, but for how I feel it's insanely unfair to Becky. Now, I'm not a big fan of Becky. I don't watch everything she puts out. She's got a couple of shows she's on. She's got a bunch of commercials she's on. I believe she even has a music career too, which in my own personal opinion of music, is rather lukewarm as far as talent is concerned, but she does have an album that she is signed to, a label she is signed to, I should say, and albums that she does put out. But just realize I'm approaching this from a very objective view. I'm not a huge Becky fan. I don't really cover a lot of what she does or listen to what she does as far as music, but let's just get into the article. From a nightly appearance on TV to a persona non grata of Japanese shows business in a matter of weeks, the drama of Rebecca Eddie Ray Vaughn. Wow, that is a long name. I didn't know her full name. So Becky, her full name being Rebecca Eddie Ray Vaughn's fall from grace was matched only by how much it revealed about Japan's harsh treatment of its female entertainers. Until news of her alleged affair with a married man surfaced earlier this month, Becky, as she is known, was one of the most popular people on Japanese television, with regular appearances in 10 commercials on at least half a dozen variety shows. Viewers liked her unthreatening, breezy manner and carefully crafted image as the girl next door. As the daughter of a Japanese woman and a British man, so I was correct on that, her hafu status brought a touch of exotica to their evening viewing. Now, I think she has a morning show too, with Gusan, if I'm correct. Yet all it took was leaked text message seized upon by the tabloid media to bring to a halt a 15-year career whose upward trajectory seemed guaranteed. Her predicament has also ignited a debate over the vice-like grip of Japan's powerful talent agencies having on female singers, actors, and TV celebrities. While the 31-year-old ponders the sudden withdrawal of all TV appearances, commercial endorsements, and her own radio program, she may be asking herself why she has been singled out by the media with vitriol while her alleged lover, a pop singer, carries on his career apparently unaffected. Now that's the part that's the most unfair. She pretty much got called out for having an affair with this guy, which is still kind of vague. It's kind of nebulous because really the only thing the tabloid caught her for was a couple of text messages and seeing her have dinner with this guy, which could actually happen just due to the fact that they're both talent and they may have had their paths cross in some sort of business meeting. She herself says that all she did have was a dinner with him one late night, and the media caught this on camera, so it is proved that it has happened, but there is no actual proof that she was having any sort of intimate affair. So, and on top of that, the guy, the singer who was the married man in this situation, she herself is not married, has been completely unaffected. He's had, no slap on the wrist even. He hasn't been affected in any way at all. His music career is carried on. His album sales continue to do awesome, but let's get into the rest of this. Her crime appears was to break the steadfast rule that requires young female celebrities in Japan to not only entertain but remain morally unimpeachable. Within weeks of a magazine breaking news of her alleged affair with Enon Kawatani, a 27-year-old singer in the band Gesu no Kiwami Otome, her employers ripped up her contracts, reportedly at the behest of her own management agency, Sun Music. By last week, she had disappeared from TV screens, lost commercial contracts, and her very own radio show. While Sun Music claimed she was suffering from quote-unquote illness and depression, Becky is unlikely to return once she recovers. I think, and I've seen this before, and that's why I say this, that she will eventually return to TV and probably all the other stuff she has, but usually what happens if there's a long sabbatical that these stars take when some sort of small controversy hits them like this. Philip Brazer, a commentator on Japanese media and culture, says he likes many of the celebrities who populate Japanese variety shows. Her whole reason for being as a TV talent is her image as a cheerful, agreeable, proper young woman, and once that image is spoiled, she has no value to the people who quote-unquote use her, which is total garbage. You yourself, watching Becky on TV, cast the first stone, ye who has not sinned. So you think some of these people who complained about her, that complained to the agency or complained about her image being corrupted, have never done anything corrupt to themselves? Hypocrites. When management agencies spend time and money nurturing a would-be celebrity, they are creating a brand image that leaves no room for impropriety. Most of these people have no conventional entertainment skills, Brazer adds, as well as their worth agencies is all tied to how much the public likes them as people, which means their private lives are property of the agencies as well. Becky, he points out, has been accused of adultery, making it unlikely that she will garner much public sympathy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, she's been accused of adultery, but if you're an adulterer, doesn't that mean, or adulteress, I guess, if it's a female, I'm not completely sure on the grammatically correct way in which to pronounce or say, but if you commit adultery, aren't you cheating on a spouse that you're married to? She herself is not married, so let's make this very clear. The person who she cheated with, he was married. Becky, he points out, has been accused of adultery, making it unlikely that she will garner much public sympathy. When a TV network recently used footage of the celebrity that was filmed before the scandal broke, it received, now listen to this, it received more than 1,000 complaints from viewers in just 10 minutes. That means people called into the station and complained to have her removed from television. 1,000 people in 10 minutes. You fucking hypocrites who called in. Everyone who called in, you should be goddamn ashamed of yourself. Far more than Becky should be ashamed of herself. Because you yourselves cannot cast the first stone if you have not sinned yourself. If you have never done anything corrupt, if you have never ever had any kind of mistake, I'll bet you out of those 1,000 people who called in, at least one of them has cheated on a girlfriend, a spouse, a boyfriend, etc. So it's such a hypocritical thing for them to have called in and tried to complain to have her removed from TV. It's insane. Yet other female entertainers have seen their careers damaged for non-adulterous relationships. Last September, a 17-year-old member of an all-female idol band was ordered to pay 650,000 yen, the equivalent to, they have pounds here, but I'll do it in dollars. For pounds, it says 3,800 pounds. I think that'd be somewhere around $6,400 to her agency after it was revealed she had had a boyfriend, a violation of the no dating clause in her contract. Now, this member is a member of AKB48. I don't know her exact name because I'm not a huge AKB follower, but I'm sure you could ask Jake Nolan. He probably knows. To add to her troubles, her relationship caused the breakup of the 6-member band. The case revealed the lengths to which Japan's talent agencies will go to indulge the fantasies and secure the commercial loyalty of
the girl band's largely male fan base. Now, what they're trying to refer to is the fact that a lot of the people, a lot of the AKB otaku who watch these bands are in love with the idea that they can imagine themselves as the boyfriend of the member that they like the most. And that's what they're saying that they made her pay this penalty for, is because she's broken that fantasy for them, which is total BS. You know, if they want to do that, that's fine, that's great, and have at it, AKB48 otaku, that's fine if you want to pretend to be somebody's boyfriend. But when it actually starts to, in reality, affect the life of that member, that is bullshit. As long as she was a female idol, the judge Akitomo Kojima said a ban on dating was necessary to obtain support from male fans. Women who have fallen foul of restrictive agency contracts last month found an unlikely ally in a case that would set an uncomfortable precedent for overbearing agents. In a surprise decision, Katsuya Hara, a Tokyo District Court judge, ruled in favor of a member of a girl band who was dating one of her fans. Her talent agency had taken her to court seeking almost 10 million yen in damages for her breaking a no dating clause in her contract. Describing the ban as excessive, Hara said the 23-year-old woman, who has not been named, enjoyed the constitutional right to the pursuit of happiness, and that included having a boyfriend. Good for you, the judge who decided this case. Good for you, Katsuya Hara, for actually having a conscience and standing up for people's right to pursue happiness. The talent agencies get kids when they're pretty young, so they don't want them to get caught up in anything controversial or illegal, said Schreiber. Mark Schreiber, who has written extensively about Japan's entertainment industry. But the no dating clause should expire when they reach the age 20 and are legally considered adults. Minami Minegishi, a former member of Japan's most popular girl band AKB48, was that age when a magazine published photographs of her leaving with her boyfriend in 2013. Now, you may remember her. This one's one of the members who was famous. She shaved her head when she was caught dating somebody. And the reason she did this was like an act of humility to try and stay with her contract in her band. Hours after the magazine came out, Minegishi, who shaved her head, a traditional act of contrition in Japan, took to YouTube to issue a tearful apology. And I think you can probably still see that on YouTube. I believe it's under the title Minami Minegishi Shaved Head as Apology. As a senior member of the group, it is my responsibility to be a role model for younger members, she said, before ending the 4-minute mea culpa with a deep, lingering bow. Everything I did is entirely my fault. I am so sorry, she was quoted as saying. But Schreiber doubts that the recent court ruling in favor of the girl band singer will weaken the determination of talent agencies to keep young female artists morally shackled. Quote, "These people are brands owned by their entertainment cartels," he said, "and they won't do anything to threaten that brand." This is such BS. Now, in general, when I think of Japan and I think of Japanese people, I think of very polite, very fair, very nice people. But this is one situation in which Japan is mean as hell. They are so goddamn mean when it comes to their media stars. And I don't know if this is because they want to watch them fall from grace, if they want to make their lives miserable when they've fallen out of this fantasy image they have in their mind. We ourselves in America love to follow these TMZ type stories of stars falling into bad times or having scandals. But for the most part, I would say Americans don't go out of their way to call in and try and get people fired from their jobs or lose their contracts as far as stars are concerned. We may do something like that as far as, I guess, retail and stuff like that. We'll call in when we have complaints, but usually they're pretty legit complaints, and let's be honest, there are many times where you enter a retail store and a worker is being quite lazy. I myself have worked retail, so I know I've been one of those lazy people. But when you affect some major star's life in this manner and it doesn't affect you back in any way, that's where I call bullshit. Now, I understand if you go into a store and you're not given proper service and you're not given your product or told about a product, or maybe it's another different type of electronics that you're ordering online and you're unhappy with the service and you call in and get somebody in trouble or fired. I understand. you've been denied proper service. You had an interaction with the person, and that's why you're pissed off and calling in and complaining about somebody. Now, why you would do this about a star on TV makes no sense other than you are just being mean. You are just being outright goddamn mean and interfering with somebody's life that has nothing to do with you. Teme ni kanke nai. It's none of your fucking business in Japanese, okay? And it really isn't. Why you would call in, why you would bother these stars and already ruin a very ruinous life that's gone haywire to begin with, that's gone into chaos, that's been already stripped of certain contracts and stuff just for the fact that they've already kind of messed up with whatever kind of affair or boyfriend or they, dating incident they've had outside of their own career is enough. Don't you think they've been punished enough? But to call in 1,000 people in the first 10 minutes that she was back on TV after this scandal broke in the newspaper that thought it was their business to call in and scream, yell, and get her fired and totally ripped off of TV. She is completely taken off TV now. It's not exaggerating. This article is not exaggerating. She has lost every single career. Now, Becky's made a lot of money. She'll probably be okay if she lives off of just merely the interest of the money that she's made off of all these times. But that still doesn't give anybody the right to call in and ruin her life. Why you would do this, I don't understand. And why Japan is so mean to its media figures when they mess up like this. Now, the worst part about it is it's so unbalanced because, as they said, this guy who was actually having the affair, the guy who was actually cheating on his wife who he was married to, has not been affected at all. His career is totally going, high and making tons still, and his album sales are out the roof. If you've heard about that band, you've probably heard their song on Japanese radio a bunch. It's super popular. It's selling in buckets. And Japan is still a country that buys CDs. So he's making buku bucks. This guy's rich, okay? And he's completely unaffected by it. But he's really the one who's done the worst thing. I mean, if you have somebody, in my opinion, and maybe this is completely subjective, you yourself, the audience watching, can say in the comments below, do you feel if somebody is married and they are cheating on their wife, are they a worse person than the person that they are seeing who is not married, who is dating them? Now, if that person knows whether or not they're married, which I believe Becky did know, are they still held as accountable? Do you think they are weighed in at the same level of disapproval by you, the audience? And also, would you be inclined to actually call in and complain about someone if they were doing something you thought was morally wrong in your eyes? That, as far as a star is concerned on TV, okay? Would you call in? Would you complain? Would you try to affect their life? I myself feel like this is none of our business. I myself see things like this on TV and think, that sucks. I'm sorry they did that. But it's not my place to make a judgment call. It's their employer's place if it has to do with the job. And this didn't have to do with the job. So really it was nobody's place. It was nobody's place to step in at all. And I think that's the most messed up aspect of this, is it was their own personal life. And when a company owns everything you do at the job, isn't that already enough? If they're owning what you do outside of the job, don't you think that's going way too far? I would love to hear your opinion in the comments below. Do you think this is going too far? Do you think Japan went too far calling in the first 10 minutes of Becky being back on TV after the scandal to get her fired and all? And listen, she lost everything, so take that into account. Do you think this was messed up for people to do, to call in and complain about her and get her stripped of all her contracts and commercials and TV shows and everything? Do you think that's going too far? Because personally, I think it's going too far. And I wanted to see, it's always good to take a step outside of yourself and say, what do you guys think? Is it too far? Is it pushing it too much? Anyway, that's just a little, I guess, glimpse into times that Japan can be a little bit mean, I think. For the most part, like I said, if I were to describe Japan and Japanese people living here, I would say overall nice, polite, very caring about their fellow neighbor. But when it comes to media, and I've seen this on Twitter too, stars be attacked really hardcore on Twitter, Japan can be fucking mean. I mean, really, really brutally mean. So let me hear your comments below. Do you think this was unfair? Do you think Becky was treated unfair? What do you think should happen to the guy who was cheating on his wife from the band that was hooking up with Becky? How do you think he should have been punished? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, I'm Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ, Japan's Frequently Asked Questions. Thank you so much, Unrest team, for watching this. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, you guys have a good one.